Hello, and how are you, everyone? And of course, this is Teacher Lena again to give you another exercises or activity to answer to, related, of course, from our previous video or discussion from Communicating in Business book. Alright, so are you ready? Great. And in order to answer our exercises for today, let's have a short review of what we did last time. So we opened 48, the complaints. Okay, we also had the preview of this. And then practice number 2, like wherein you were asked to suggest what the person complaining and the person handling the complaint could say in the following or given situations. Okay, so now do you remember it? Okay, and we also had the flowchart, wherein you also made your own version of the conversation using the flowchart as your pattern. Alright, so we have Berando SA and then Taylor Company or Sales Office. Now we're going to move on to, or we're moving on to 51. Okay. So this is a role playing. It's still under the topic, unfortunately, there's a problem, unit number 5. You have to work in pairs, or you can also work this one alone if you prefer to. And then let's have the given situations. Transfer. You have to think of examples of where you have needed to resolve a problem on the telephone, perhaps with a colleague, an internal problem, or with another company, an external problem. So tell me a time when you needed or when you had to resolve a problem over the telephone. Maybe it can be with a colleague or a coworker and another company. Where you encountered problem, what did you say and how did you deliver the lines? How did you complain? Alright. So again, you can use our model from the flowchart, of course. So you have to introduce yourself, of course, and then tell directly the problem, alright, and how to resolve this and how to reschedule an appointment, let's say. Did the problem involve a complaint? Say what the situation was and what problem occurred. Explain any difficulty you had and say how the problem was resolved. So you have to explain or you have to recite what happened when that time. Okay, when you had a problem over the telephone, how did you resolve it? How was the conversation? How did it go? Something like that. Okay, so can you start it now? Okay. Okay, so I can see I'm really great and happy that you're able to share it in the class. Alright. And I hope, right, you can avoid this thing to happen again, or if this happens, it can, of course, you know how and what to do, how to handle and what to do in this kind of situation. Prepare a conversation typical of the sorts of problems or complaints you are faced with in your working life. Yes, and explain the situation and the roles involved to a colleague and then perform the conversation. So, and here you have to give me a conversation when you also had a problem. When you had a problem with in your working life, in your workplace, to your colleagues especially. And then you have to do or perform the conversation. Okay, so let's do it. You may start it. Okay, that's good. And you may always review that. You may pause the video first and recite your conversation. Yes, that's it. And for our next activity, we'll do the exercises. Alright, so we have the language checklist. It's using the telephone number 3. We did stating reason for the call. You may start your sentence with I'm calling about, and then explaining the problem, referring to previous problems, threatening, right? And then handling complaints and other problems. We also have apologizing, denying an accusation, and the skills checklist. If you receive a complaint, consider your customer, and if you make a complaint. So it's like the summary at the same time. Okay, and for 53, quick communication check. So this is the exercises that I was talking about. Alright, so we have 1, 2, and 3. Let's start answering. Okay, so alright. Quick communication. Match the phrase on the left with the correct ending. Alright, so the reason for my call is a technical matter. I'm calling about a supply problem. I need to talk to someone about. I would like some advice on, and can you tell me something about your services? Okay. Number 2, explaining the problem. Replace the underlined words with words in the box which mean the same. So we have goods to arrive, it's the delivery. Something wrong, a problem. Broken, not working. An answer to our letter or a reply. Money you owe us, please explain. I don't understand. And then payment for money you owe us. How to operate the machine, the instruction. Now let's do number 3, handling complaints. Complete the exchanges below with words from the box. There seems to be a problem with the machine. Okay, so you can say I'm sorry to hear that. Do you have a customer reference number? What's the serial number on the machine? I'd like to speak to Mr. Davis. He's not available at the moment, but I'll ask him to call you back as soon as he comes back. I think there's a problem with the invoice. If you hold on, I'll transfer you to the right department. We still haven't received the goods. I'm sorry, we've had a delay in distribution. Everything should be okay for a delivery next week. Okay, so thank you for listening and participating for tonight's topic, especially for the conversation making. You did really a good job on that. Well, now I think that will be all for today. That's enough. We'll be having more of this topic, business related topics, and dealing situations or dealing in different kinds of situations on our next video. This is me, Teacher Lynn, and I'll see you again. Goodbye.